test out the new IQ 110 today on. Here's the 3 ribs that I'm going to be using today. I'm going to use a butter knife to get under the membrane. Get it forced up some. Get your finger under there. Get a little bit off. And use paper towel to grab the membrane. And it mostly just pulls right off. These are some fatty membranes. Now after I get all these pulled off, I'm going to use my rub that I made. This is a sweet rub that I found in an ebook I downloaded. It's put it in the shaker, which has no top, so I saved it in here, and we'll rub down with this. And a lot of sugar in this, so this has got to be low and slow. In fact, there's no pepper. It intrigues me, there's no pepper in this. But I don't think I've ever remember putting pepper on pork anyway. So steak, steak and brisket, yep, you put pepper on them. But this, apparently, you don't. So I'm going to do the membrane, then I'm going to rub with this, and then we'll meet out at the grill. In my research on how to use the IQ 110, found out that I was apparently using too much charcoal, and that I had it connected too well. That's why I was having trouble keeping it cooler, because too much charcoal was catching on fire at the same time. So they suggested using this circle pattern with barriers in between and at the beginning and end so they couldn't jump across. As you can tell by this stuff right here, I did a cook last night. Just did a chicken just to see if it would do it, and I found out that I didn't at first put enough charcoal in, so I had to start over because it leveled out at 125 and stayed there for 30 minutes. So I ended up having to put more charcoal in and start over again, and I was able to achieve the 275 that I needed, and actually kept it between 275 and 280 for the whole 2 hours of the cook. So I'm optimistic that today's ribs at 225 low and slow for 6 hours is attainable. The ribs are all rubbed and take about 30 minutes for them to marinate in their own juices. I'm going to get this started. I have one of these Weber cubes down in the bottom of this that you can't see. So I'll just start it real quick and let the flame start going. There's the flame coming out. Hopefully catching all that on fire and start to smoke. Obviously it's already going. When you first plug this in, because it doesn't have an on-off button, which I kind of wish it did. But when you first plug this in, this light blinks one red for one, and then a bunch of green lights for what version it is. I apparently have 1.7, which is, from what I understand, the most recent version. Then it kicks the fan on high for 1 or 3 seconds to let you know it's working, and then it goes into checking. You can see down here, this tells you if it's blinking, that means it's low, and it's blinking right now, so it's low. The solid green means at temperature. Red and green together means the lid's off. Solid red's high, and blinking means it's, more than 20 degrees hotter than it's supposed to be. This is a baffle system. The 4 is all the way open, 3 is halfway open, 2's a fourth of the way open, 1 is, I don't know, it gets smaller every time. It's kind of baffling to me. Sorry, bad joke. In the video they've showed, we should have it actually on 2 all the time, but while I'm trying to get it up to temp, I put it on 3, and then when it gets to 10, I put it on 2. That's what worked last night for the chicken. So, I don't know if you can hear that. The fan's working away right now. fan plugs into this device down here, which is at the end of the bottom vent, and you close this down and it of course blows the air in of it. Then the top vent is supposed to be somewhere between 1 and 2, so just barely open, and that seems to work, or it did at least last night for the chicken. Well, as you can see, I've got it set for about 225. Last night it was set to 275 because that's what you use to crisp up the chicken skin. This and that were off by about 10 degrees. This would start blinking, would start going, you know, solid green, and when this was reading 265. So I turned that up a little bit, kept until this got to 275, and then it kept it there between 275 and 280 the rest of the cook. I realized later when I pulled it open I had the probe for this on one side of the probe for this on one side and the probe for this on the other side. So I put them where they're almost touching each other right now to see if they read about the same this time. As you can see, the bottom number is at 223. That's the pit temperature. I'm shooting for 225. So it's probably going to go a little bit hot before it starts to cool off. But just now, I'm going to hit all 3 slabs with a light dusting of the rub and go put them on the grill. Confirmed. This has a steady green light. Says it's at 225 right now. My Maverick says it's at 216, which is 10 degrees less. So I trust my Maverick, sorry. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Try to get it around 225. It hit 225, then went to 230, set off the alarm. I knew it'd lower the alarm when I opened up the top. Well, opening up the top and putting the ribs on caused it to go down to 170. It's already back to 174, but that's why the alarm's going off, because it's too low now. But it'll go back up here in a little bit. Didn't show you putting on the ribs because it was putting on the ribs. I mean, what's there to show? This round circle thing's a bust. This is the second time it's burned itself out and gone to nothing. It's a bad idea. Just gonna get rid of it, build the thing up just so I can do my last 2 hours in the foil and the 1 hour with the stuff. So slowing me down as usual. I'm doing it the 3-2-1 method again. They just came off after the 3 hours, but they averaged probably about 230 instead of 225, but about 230 for that 3 hours. It went up some, it went down some. Now I'm going to put some squeezed parquet on it, put some apple cider in, and probably, since these are probably going to end up being candied ribs, but a little bit of brown sugar. Wrap them up and do them for 2 more hours. Here's the other 2. Fortunately, one was touching right there, so it didn't get cooked as well as I'd liked for it to, but I'm hoping the time in the foil will help that. If not, I'm sure it'll still taste good. Just won't look very good. I had to take everything apart and build a whole new fire. So just waiting for it to get above 205 again, because that's the temperature water boils here in Lubbock. So I can put this stuff back on and start steaming this meat. You can see this. It says it's somewhere between 225 and 250 with the green solid light. My Maverick, on the other hand, says it's at 264. It's been at 240 to 264 the whole time, so obviously this doesn't work very well. Either way, it's time to take them out of the foil and to put barbecue sauce on them. Thought I'd tell you about some of the research I've done. A lot of people believe, and I tended to believe them too, that smoke only goes onto the meat for about the first 90 minutes. Then it the meat sort of, you know, closes up and there's nothing for the smoke to attach to. Turns out what smoke likes to attach to is cold or moist. So when it gets too dry on the side, the smoke just bounces right off of it. That's why a lot of your professionals and stuff spray it with some kind of juice, apple cider vinegar, apple juice, just water, anything to keep the top moist so that the smoke can stick to it. when you first put it on, it's actually usually colder than it is in the barbecue. So that works that way for the first 45 minutes. So me, I'm going to start using apple juice. Actually, I think this is apple cider. It has a little bit more sugar in it, but that seems to be the theme of the day. They're not quite where they should be. They should have been falling apart, ripping, when I lifted them up into just one tong. They're not doing that. So that means they're either overcooked or undercooked. I'm betting maybe overcooked because it was so hot. But guess what? I'm still going to eat them. The other side effects about having apple juice is, yeah, you get to drink it too. I like apple juice. And here is the final rendering. I don't know how to say that. It's a little bit tough. I think it's because of the 30-minute wait between the 3-hour and the 2-hour, because I had to change the thing, and then it wouldn't stay in the right temperature zone. But actually tastes pretty good. A little bit chewy. But doesn't taste bad. Got mixed feelings about that unit. It does an okay job. I mean, it does a better job than I can having to stand there, but it still lets it get away from it. But it does pretty much what it says it will. I'll probably just need to tweak with it some more and play with it some more. But that just means more barbecue. I mean, it doesn't taste bad, it's just kind of chewy. So that's it for this edition of The Gadget Gardener. Look what I found growing a couple of days ago. It's a basil plant just growing on the walk. It's wild, it's actually doing better than my other basil plants, even though it is getting eaten up now, I see. But I've been watering it. It seems to be happy. You really want to see how good of a green thumb I have? Come look at this. This is AstroTurf. Stuff's not supposed to grow through it. But look. This is going through it, and that weed grew through it. So, that's how good of a green thumb I have. I can grow in AstroTurf.